Have you ever heard the saying, he or she came out of that smelling like a rose? Sometimes indicating that whatever they went through, how horrible it was, or can you believe that? They came through that smelling like a rose. I want to take us way back to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and I want to talk about their fire of affliction and our fire of affliction. Now, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was not willing to compromise their faith and their trust and their love in God. So this king, pagan king, Nebuchadnezzar, decided that after he gave them one last chance, to throw them into the fire. So we'll call that the fire of affliction. Being sold out so much to God that we're willing to go through the affliction to not compromise our faith and our belief. Now, because these three Hebrew boys were cast into the fire, and scripture says that when they came out of the fire, they did not smell like smoke at all. So one could say they came out smelling like a rose. But because of their fire of affliction, look what their faith did. Look what that fiery trial did to this king, who then commanded that everyone serve God. I wanted to dig a little deeper because I want to talk about when we're crushed and what comes out. That usually tells a lot about what's in our heart. But then, as I was talking yesterday about the glory of God that's placed inside of us, that we want to be in that epic moment where His glory can come forth and magnify Him, not us. But because of what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego endured, look what it did to King Nebuchadnezzar and what he commanded. It caused belief. So I want to ask you this question. What could your fiery trial right now do or affect? How could it affect other people who are watching you or in your life? Will they be able to say he or she came out smelling like a rose? I did a little research on some roses, and when you look at the rose, it is so appealing and so beautiful to the eye. All of its delicacies, even the thorns, it's beautiful. It's just like satin petals, just fixed together to make this beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. But what happens if that rose is crushed? And that's what I wanted to study about this morning, about what happens when you crush a rose. It says when roses are crushed, the petals are significantly damaged. They tear, they break apart, and release their natural oils. They may look wilted, and they lose their beautiful appeal, external beautiful appear. They lose their structure and their shape. They will never look the same again. I want you to apply this to our lives. When we are crushed, when we tear apart, when we break apart, when all of these things happen, when we look wilted in life, when we look like there is no hope, and we lose our shape and our structure and our strength, and we will never look the same again once we endure and come through with God this fiery trial, this tearing apart, this breaking down, all of this. Imagine this. The rose is beautiful in its moment, in its glory. It's just there, it's looking beautiful. But after the rose is crushed, it will never have that physical beauty appearance again. But listen to this. But crushing a rose can lead to a stronger release of its fragrance. Once crushed, it cannot be restored to its original state. But the aroma lives on. The rose didn't die, but continued to testify of itself. How do you think that we get the scent of rose in rose water or rose perfume or all of the fragrances that roses or the scent of rose can be used for? Because this rose was crushed, it will never look the same, but it will transform into what's inside of it, which is the scent, which it's beautiful, which we value, which we love to smell. Glory was released in that furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Glory can be released in our fiery trials too. And if you think about your life and yourself as that rose, you may not look the same as you did before. You may have come through so much that you feel marred, that you feel even dismembered, all of these things because of what you have endured. But think about how that crushing, how that fiery furnace, how that even using heat, when you heat things up, the aroma that comes about. What aroma what aroma is coming from you, from me, when we are being hard pressed and crushed and torn apart and broken down. And the thing of it is, the crushing won't kill us, because the aroma of God's glory can be released and can live on to testify of His faith, of His mercy, of His grace. So today I challenge you and myself to look at the crushing moments a little different, to think about what aroma can be squeezed out of me. No, I may never look the same, I may never appear to be the same, I may be transformed in such a way, but isn't that what we want? To be transformed in such a way that other people can see the difference. She doesn't look the same, she doesn't talk the same, she doesn't act the same, she doesn't do the same things, she doesn't go the same places. No, that's the transformation that we're looking for to come through having a personal, intimate relationship with God. It is these seasons of trial. It is the things that cast us to Him, that when we realize that when we finally give up and give in to God, then He can pick up where our last step was, because in our strength, in our weakness, that is where His strength comes in. A word of encouragement from the scripture, a very well-known scripture, and just happened to be part of my reading today too. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 28. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, He increases the strength. Even youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall be exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. He is the great I am. He is on the throne. He is able to do things. What we will endure, what we're going through, has no comparison to what He has for us. I've just been so drawn to understand that I realize every season, trial, has changed me, transformed me. I don't look the same or feel the same or act the same once God has been able to instruct me and teach me. And this is what the seasons are about. This is what the fiery trials are about, to get to know God more. Don't run from Him, run to Him. Melt your soul into Him. Let Him use the crushing to bring forth this aroma of glory that's been put inside of us for Him. Let's use what we have been called here to do. Let's use what we're going through to help, just like the boys did with King Nebuchadnezzar, the difference that our fiery furnace can make in someone else's life. When the Lord has changed my perspective about things I've been dealing with and things I will deal with in the future, I'm going to be looking for the glory that can be released, not the oh me, oh my, what am I going to do? I'm not looking for those. When I was reading this morning, when Jesus was on the cross and He said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? But He was fulfilling His glory so that you and I didn't have to take that cross. He thought about me and you when He was there. And now I want to think about Him when I'm enduring something, and all the other individuals that I could encourage. What could your aroma do? Could it encourage? Could it strengthen? Could it support? Think about that. What could it do to someone else? And let's focus on the glory that can be released instead of the pain that we're enduring.